Welcome back, guys. Week 1, day number 2, PCS. And coming in to our second game of the day, of course, bringing you the action, myself, Nightstar, and the most lovely Jenny Rubichu joining here with me on the desk. Of course, before we dive into the game, gotta thank our sponsors, CDBC Bank, for sponsoring the league, and of course, League Operations, Riot Games, Garena, and Carry Live Co. So thank you for making everything possible. Yes, everything Jenny is doing over there, I agree. Yes. But now we get to dive into the game, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, of course, thanks to our sponsors for, keeping our lights on, keeping my lights on, powering this league, making sure there's a PCS we get to come back to every year. Seriously, I mean, I just love the fact that we have leagues like ours, like LCO, where our audience, we don't get as much audience as LPL, LCK, but we're a very tight, close family right here. We've got
We are
maybe a bit more of
family?
a niche audience, but we are family.
There we go. Boom.
That's the sponsor jingle. Boom. Yeah, we got this. We gotta, give them that airtime. But yeah, so we're into game number 2. It's gonna be what I personally am most excited for this entire day of matchup. We've got Frank Esports. You can see on your screen the roster. YSKM played the Fiora yesterday. Hollow Pretender, Eminem, as well as Karis. Most of them will be familiar to you guys if you're watching the split, spring split last season. They did have a very good match yesterday on debut match against Sem9, although is it because they were playing Sem9? We'll find out today. I think that's part of what makes this the most exciting for us, because they're gonna go up versus IMP, IMPUNITY Esports, coming off of what we mentioned earlier, a huge roster upheaval, but IMP also winning their debut match yesterday. There was YSKM giving the thumbs up into the camera and making his teammate Pretender just laugh really hard. Not sure what's up with that, but I would love to hear their comms. But the team looks like they're having fun, which is what I hope all the audience is having fun. I'm for sure having fun. Frank's having fun. We're all having fun, man. It's a party.
Yeah, and over on the other side, we've got Impunity Esports, as you mentioned, roster completely revamped. We have ICU coming in from Alpha Esports or Hurricane Gaming, and Alex making his return after a split off. Apex making his return after an entire year off or something like that. LZ, Winnie, new players here, and they had a very strong opening, right? But a very similar story to Frank Esports. The considerations yeah, you won, but it's kind of expected for you to win because you were playing against one of the lower rated teams.
I like how your voice went lower as you were like, man, these low-ranking teams. I just straight up dissing there. Frank, come on. They have family too.
I had air quotes.
I can't see your air quotes now, can I, Frank? No, but I get what you mean for sure. That Frank, of course, versus Sem9, that's how they picked up the win. IMP versus Jewish team yesterday as well. So I think we're really interested in this one because IMP, they're definitely stronger than they were in spring, but just how strong are they? So we're about to find out. First round of bans is going to be the Viego, the Slane Jerry, as well as the Gangplank, which is what we kind of expected from game 1 that we did not see, but it's a very 12-11 standard ban. I think probably Wukong, if we're going to call him that right. Yep, Renata, Wukong maybe. Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be Wukong, perhaps Lucian, but they take away the Wukong. Lucian left available, Kalista left available. We saw Eminem take the Kalista yesterday and just absolutely pop off, but now it's going to be a completely different flavor, moving away from the Kalista, moving in from the lane dominance and towards the Senna, which opens up a lot of possibilities if you want to go away from something like the Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench, the standard one, but elsewhere we've seen an LCS, Senna Seraphine has been incredibly dominant. We saw it come out from Kwangdong Freaks over in
Mhm.
LCK to get their upset win against T1. I know you're a big T1 fan, so maybe a little bit salty about that, but
The
that's how
biggest
it is.
T1 fan.
I thought you were the biggest J Team fan.
That's true. That's true. Are we talking worldwide or are we just talking J Team Universe? Because, yeah, there are a lot of teams that I like. I'm gonna be frank with you, Frank. But I'm
Thank you.
surprised that IMP actually are leaving the TK on the board because Senna I'm getting a bot lane. Senna as well got a couple of changes over on 12-11 that don't quite matter to pro players, just in terms of like percentage, in terms of her minion drop, in terms of the drop on the minions, whether she lets hits where they die or not. But yeah, I'm surprised that they went for the Nautilus, but we've been saying that in PCS, Naut is a very common pickup for a lot of the teams. There's Corki versus the Azir. Corki pretty much once he gets those rockets, he can just do whatever he wants safely at range. I'm interested to see how Pretender makes use of the package later on, but we'll talk more about that when we get the entire team comp. There's the Fiora band that we were expecting versus YSKM because he did pick that one up yesterday in their game win. There's the counter Sejuani ban as well. We saw the Fiora ban in game number 1, but that was because BYG wanted to play the Sejuani, as you were talking about during the break also. But this time around, it's kind of more of a target ban versus YSKM in particular. So in IMP, they've got their bot lane as well as their mid. They don't have that many. There are a whole bunch of jungle options left available. I think a lot of what we're seeing on 12-11 is that the second round bans don't quite matter as much because in some lanes, such as mid, there are a whole bunch of options that you can't.
But Viego,
yeah. Oh, Lee
was
Sin?
taking away in the first okay, that's
wow.
not gonna happen.
Okay.
Okay, Viego I did see banned in the first rotation, but some of these options, half of them definitely not coming through. But Trundle is going to get locked in. Trundle, one of those picks, pretty good against immobile carries, something like a Senna. But unfortunately for him, he's pretty low range, which is not good against Senna and Corki. Now, for Frank Esports, it looks like they're hovering their top lane options by picking a Jax. Is of course a little bit risky because of course ICU plays a lot of Jax, so I'd imagine he has all the Jax counters read, but they're gonna test fate here. Frank Esports lock in that Jax, and now we're looking at what kind of junglers do they want to take up against Trundle. Because of how many junglers have come off the table, you're coming down to the next tier. Of course, the top two, Viego, Wukong, but even the Lee Sin taken off the table, and now Trundle. So they're going to go ahead and lock in the Graves. Graves, a jungler that just kind of power farms through Trundle because he doesn't farm as well in the jungle, and it's really all about these ganks for Trundle. But now Impunity, this is interesting. Usually we say the Jax is the counter pick into the Gwen, but ICU wants to perhaps play more for composition here.
Yeah, maybe just, flexing the fact that he's been the top laner over in Silico. Yeah, he's just straight up better. Man is built diff. I mean, ICU. So fun fact, ICU and I share the same birthday.
Oh, okay.
I found this out in spring because it was, I think, one of the game days. Our birthdays are in March. Yeah, I think after one of like the PCS game days, I was streaming, and then I realized ICU was also doing a birthday stream. That's how we found that out. But I mean, fun fact, right, for guys out there, ICU, it does not stand for intensive care unit. It stands for Irelia Carry You, because he's just one of those, like, he mains top lane, he mains those like carries, those bruisers, like Jax, like Irelia, that he loves to play. So as you're talking about, he's probably got this matchup all figured out, the Jax versus the Gwen. We'll see, but it does help to round out the rest of his team composition.
Yeah, and he got practice on it yesterday too, right? Where he played the Jax into the Gwen. This time it's going to be the reverse matchup. Interestingly enough, it's going to be Eminem playing the Tom Kench. Usually we see the AD carry player, or technically the AD carry player, pick up the Senna, but perhaps with you know, carries haven't, you know, played AD carry before. Maybe he's not as comfortable farming out the lane now that he's moved to the sport. He's just like, you know what, Eminem, you're better at farming. Go take that farm. But we are headed into game number 2. It's FAK Esports taking on Impunity.
All right, so Frank on Frank Esports. What are your thoughts, Frank?
I like this composition because of the synergy between the Corki and the Senna. Once you hit mid game onto items, this is a very oppressive composition because of the range. The question here is for Impunity, how do they get things going in the early game? That's how I feel, because
Yeah,
you have Trundle, you have Kalissa. It's all about the early game.
yeah, I agree. I mean, they also actually have a pretty nice like sort of team fight going on. I mean,
Mhm.
Callista with Azir is pretty classic. It's very easy, very standard to play out. Trundle that pillar is going to help you so much if you do get those straight 5v5s. I think that's what
Mhm.
IMP are going to be gunning for. Frank Esports, on the other hand, have a bit more of a creative composition. They've got a whole bunch of things going on. They've got Corki, who wants to get rockets. Graves has the potential to maybe make something happen level 4. Then Jax wants to go late, so we'll see. We'll see how they decide to play this as a whole. There's Pretender using, in my opinion, and this is not a subjective opinion, this is the objective opinion. He's using the absolute best skin in all of League of Legends right there. The Corgi with that chroma. No cap.
All right. I agree with you.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank
yeah,
you.
especially when you spam emote. Even better. But
Yes, yes.
okay,
And when he walks into the lane, it's so cute. Anyway, bot side,
absolutely, I agree.
gonna right? Oh my god, and the chromas are so cute too, the pink one. Anyway, back to the game. Indie were fired. Yeah, I see you top side, just pretty
Hey, we're
typical.
advertising skin sales, Jenny.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
true.
Yeah. But going back into the top side, as you mentioned, what do we want to talk about top side?
Phew. So top side, it looks like it's pretty standard at the start. The thing is, Jax versus Gwen, neither of them have a very strong early game. Jax is a bit reliant on the minion wave positioning, really, to get that the Q to be able to jump in and out. Whereas Gwen as well, early levels, she doesn't do that great. She really need a bit more scaling before things start kicking in. So we'll see if
Hmm.
Graves versus Trundle decide to give them that much attention. Graves isn't the best lane ganker when he's paired up with someone who doesn't have CC in the solo lane. And then Trundle, of course, there's not going to be all that much damage coming out from him either if either
Ooh,
side go for
Alex.
the 2v2. But yeah, Alex looks like he's going to try to make something happen on Pretender right now. Pretender, he's pretty mobile. He's just gonna waggle his behind out of there. I was so distracted for a second. Focus, Jenny. Focus. Stop looking at skins. I mean, that's a moneymaker. I mean, the skin. I'm talking about the skin.
Yes, absolutely. Best skin in League of Legends right now, as
That.
YSKM, I mean, he's played this lane really, really aggressively. He's standing beyond the minions more often than not and
Oh,
constantly
I
looking for
see
trades. And this could
you.
be a 4-minute dive, something we don't see often, but it is only 200 health ICU. Now 300. We'll be up to... Okay, it looks like YSKM does not go down. So ICU takes a huge L. He's going to lose a good chunk of that wave. And on the reverse end, Eminem looking to go forward, deny Alex that growth camp. And Carries even goes ahead, makes sure that does die as well. So Alex, his possible play was to go ahead, steal away the Krugs, and it gets denied by FAK Esports. Well played all across the map.
Yeah, I love the cross map play coming out from FAK Esports right here. I think I see you. So he's popped the pot, right? And he's under the tower. I love just Hollow, how he's got so much time to just slowly take credits, knowing he's full vision of ICU. And at that point,
Yep.
ICU, I think he's just gonna
Yeah.
try. He dropped his Ignite as
Yeah.
well, so I'm
Mhm.
not sure
He
if
really
he
tried,
got...
but
Yeah, he did. I'm
more
not sure
action.
if... Mhm. Yeah, more
Just
action.
kidding.
I think they're gonna JK. It's gonna be Cap, Frank. I'm calling Cap on that. But both sides to be two, they're gonna back off for it now. I'm not sure if ICU if it was a miscalculation on either the ignite. Maybe he thought that the tower would. Maybe he thought YSK with another tower hit. Not sure, but he did have teleport, so he used
Oh,
that
this is a
to
big
get
wave.
back into the
He's
lane
actually
right
gonna go
now.
fight. This is a lot of minion damage
Oh
though.
no!
But that is a lot of straight up 1v1 damage. YSKM does not care about the millions of backline minions beating on his back. It's just a nice massage to further ensure that he now has a 2-kill advantage. And man, I am very, very surprised.
We were all rooting for you, ICU. I'm not sure if it's maybe just the recent changes that he hasn't fully come to grips with. But take a look at this one right here. Jax jumps in. And he's taking so much aggro. Both top laners, of course, have popped their pods right there. ICU's actually just trying to back out and knows he's doesn't have enough time right there. He actually yeah, he knows that he will lose the 1v1. The mistake there is the fact that he was so up without jungle, without ward, and he just straight up didn't have enough time to make it out. Alex forced to burn the flash. That's gotta hurt as well because across the board a bunch of players are hitting level 6 right now, so by the time Alex hits 6, he's not going to have his flash down for any gank. So Frank, Esports, we were talking about the cross map play earlier when they got the first blood in top as well as denying Alex the Krugs over in bot side there. Once again, going for the rotations right here, sending 3 people down towards the bot side. I want to get a kill and then pick up the dragon. Seems to be a good plan. Pretender's just going to pop the plant right there for the extra mana.
Yeah, and I mean, we look at the spot half of the map, right? And it's just littered with blue vision. So a nice control coming out from Frank Esports. They make that play over to the top side. Love the roam coming in from carries. Of course, as the Senna, you can roam early on because if you walk around with your jungler takes camps. You get souls off of those camps, and you continue to move up forward and get more vision and more souls. So YSKM will look to move this wave towards that tower, and ICU has been absolutely put behind. He is struggling, and again, this is a matchup that ICU asked for. Nice little hook, but it's on Tom Kench. It's on Thomas Kench.
Yeah.
So kind of hard.
Unbench the Kench. I mean, he is just too strong with the Senna, but yep, Apex versus Hollow. Hollow's gonna get a bit of chip damage onto Apex. He's gonna kind of walk that one off, pop his pods as well. The thing about, I think, Doran's ring with the recent change is that you get more mana regen from Doran's ring, but you get less of the health regen on your drain. So it's a bit tricky, I think, for all the laners that start with Doran's ring for them to calculate. They don't run out of mana as much, but then they're a bit more susceptible to the ganks. So we will see Hollow pick up Shelly over on the top side at level 6. Meanwhile, yep, they're going for the crust map, so Alex will get the dragon in exchange. It's going to be the Inferno, which actually should help them. We were talking about the IMP composition. They've got that team fight thing going on, so it's good dragon for them to pick up with this comp. Meanwhile, Frank just getting pushed in, I think. Yeah, it's pre-14, so the tower plates, they've already lost, already at about 1 down right now. So not the best, but not all that bad, right? Frank still have the about 1400 gold advantage. Meanwhile, ICU, no!
He's just getting absolutely wailed on.
Yeah, the thing is, he needs to just let the wave push in and then try and
see
a
doctor.
Tower.
That's what
As
he needs.
Gwen, yikes. That big scissors ain't enough, man. He needs to get pushed in and just CS under tower. Gwen's not the best at CSing under tower, but it's not as bad as some of the other top laners. The thing is, if you do that, you're just pretty much giving YSKM the reign to just free farm, to just roam, to just get it hit. They're hiding in the bush. Oh, I see. How did he not know that?
Yeah, he just.
We didn't look at how. Yeah, we didn't look at how Jax backed off. So they might have thought that like he actually gone back further into the lane, but ICU just pushed that wave out a bit, and that gave Jax the opportunity to jump onto the wave. We were talking about how as a Jax, you really want to go for those like sneaky plays in and around with the wave, and that's how you play it. So yeah, he's been doing that pretty well. Although, you know, we do expect traditionally the Jax to do better in this lane matchup anyway. There's a gold difference.
Yep, that's the gold graph, and it's been steadily increasing coming in from FAK Esports. And now when we talk about these two teams, while Impunity have made a lot of big changes, remember it's still a big transition to go into a completely new roster, whereas FAK Esports, they've just continued to grow, right? They've only had it to add one piece, and that's been their top laner. And I mean, you look at it, his lanes has been completely changed from before, and now Impunity, their bot lane comes under fire, and it will force out the cleanse coming in from LZ. And now Hollow still looking to try and apply pressure down in this bottom lane. Has Rift Tarot, that is 2/3 done. So he is running a little bit low on time, but will have the option to move away. Now, Pretender takes a little bit of a trade here in the mid lane, but this shouldn't really come too much. It's just going to be a bit of a health trade, but now that's the flip, that's the swoop, and that's going to be damage down onto Pretender, and Pretender will be able to make it back to his tower, but he will die under his tower.
Oh, that hurts them so much as well, because he used to teleport earlier to get back into that lane, so he's not going to have it available right now. He's going to have to, very unfortunately, walk all the way back into lane, but very well played by the mid-jungle duo of Alex as well as Apex. Yeah, we're going to take a look at the replay. Apex actually just kind of baits. I'm not sure what the comms are, but I think he realized that Alex was nearby, and they were just trying to bait out Pretender into following him over towards this side of the mid lane, and then it's just really easy for Alex to flash over the wall and help and pick up his mom's health over there. And very nicely done. I think he baited Pretender into thinking that the outside was safe. Shelly gonna be dropped down. It's gonna get one good hit in, and I actually feel like Tyrion going down might be better for IC when that happens, because it will at least force him to play back in lane. So it's not happened yet, but I mean, it's not gonna be the end of the world when the top side tier 1 falls.
Oh, Winnie out of position though.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for when he's going to push out to safety. So it does make it out of the 2 versus 3. Nicely done, Eminem. Once again, Rome on the TK. And that's going to force Winnie to actually head back to base and recall, and then slowly head towards bot once more. But I think over in the top side, ICU's. Nope, he's not under tower. Nope. He's safe for now because Hollow is over the bot side. One thing that I want to point out is just how well Hollow has been making moves across the map multiple times over in top, in mid, in bot as well. And the fact that he's been roaming so much, but also still up in CS versus Alex's Trundle. It's a really good thing for the side of FAK Esports right now. 13.5 minutes, second dragon is up, and it looks like IMP want to start.
Yeah, they want to go ahead and start this, and it looks like the side of FAK Esports will go ahead and concede this. They know that their power spikes quite aren't there yet, but once they do hit 2 items, this is a pretty terrifying composition. And YSKM, he's continuing to just pummel this top side. And the other thing, of course, is once it gets to that team fight phase, Gwen has the opportunity to outperform a Jax, but in the 1v1, Jax just absolutely continues to slam ICU. So they want to keep things as uneventful as possible right now. Pretender coming in has the package, isn't going to actually go ahead and use it. So a bit of an off timer. We'll see if he just burns it right away to at least try and get that cooldown ticking as fast as possible.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the game plan was here from IMP because, Alex had that standout Viego performance yesterday. IC as well, been hyping him up as such a good top laner in the league. And the thing is, though, for your jungler to perform well, he's got to have somewhere to go. So IMP, I get that, their strat of Alex, ICU, with kind of winning the game through them. I get that that's really easy to read, but the fact that ICU is behind right now is just doesn't leave IMP with that many options. They're going to have to really rely hard on the Azir and the Kalista come mid to late. We're going to start out Shelly once again. There's not really any vision right here, and Frankie's splits don't look like they're going to want to contest this.
Yeah, they'll go ahead, hand that over. Still waiting for that second item coming in from Frank Esports. Of course, once the Ludens comes in, along with the completed Muramana, that changes how these fights work completely. So I think Frank Esports are just waiting for that item timer. And now, in this 1v1 of the originally top laners, we have a completed item in the Blade of Rune King versus just what's close to be a Rift Maker. But even once a Rift Maker does get completed, well, the Jax does have a Sheen over him. So still very large advantage for the Jax. And when we saw those earlier gold values, the Gwen is still keeping pace with the Tahm Kench, but that's not what you should be measuring yourself against.
Yeah, of course. That's a line I never thought that I would ever hear in League of Legends. Like, yes, I'm even with the Genj. I'm doing good. But Shelly gonna be dropped over in the top side. Apex and Alex just gonna hard shove right here. Shelly gets one good hit onto the top
But that's it.
Yeah, it's only gonna drop down to about half health. So they've lost their own top one, but they're not going to be able to pick up any of Frank Esports just yet. IMP have yet to find a
Alex
tower.
possibly in trouble. Oh, actually, they're going to start the fight. The pillar comes down, but of course, Graves able to dash through these choke points, able to get out without really burning anything. But that's also the ultimate coming in from Alex. So a lot burned to try and force the play, and nothing comes out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that we're seeing on 12-11, right? Which is that a lot of times we see the game go to like easily 13, 15 minutes without a tower being taken. Or like right now, it's like 17 minutes and only one tower is dropped across the map. And that's just because of the durability patch, and then also how towers do so much more increased damage. Right now, it's harder to dive, and you see a lot of games just tending to go later. Apex right now, though, was able to use the Sand Soldier and then the dash. Let's use the ultimate safety, so it means that he might not have that cooldown if there is a fight for the third dragon later on. So it might harm them later, because a zero ultimate is always a great one to have in the dragon or baron pit. But we will see. He does make it out of his life, still has his flash as well as teleport though. So no, not dying, it's always a good thing, you know.
It is a good thing.
It's
but
not the
issue
aim
is
of the game, but it's kind of how you should play.
it's
have
the
it in
mini
the back
game.
of your mind. Yeah.
Yeah, but now Hook lands onto Hollow. He could get picked off. He's going to get the extra shield coming in from carries, but now the turn comes in from Frank Esports. Now the range is starting to come through. Pretender has that Luden's Echo completed. Now this poke really starting to stick. The Muramana also very close to complete, if not completed right now. We see that little sparkle. It is now done. And remember, Apex doesn't have that ultimate. We'll have to play things slow while they try and buy time to get that ultimate back up. But because of the chunk onto their support, it's just going to be conceding of that next dragon.
Yeah, and there it is. It's gonna, Clouddrake gonna go super easily over to the side of Frank Esports. I mean, even though they only picked up winning, as you mentioned, it was just enough for IMP to go, you know what? We're not gonna contest this. We don't have a zero elf. We don't have our Nautilus either. And
now the collapse on ICU?
Oh, he's just standing there. He knows.
Oh, ICU. He's a little far from home. But look at the damage, just a Rift Maker. But this is just Rift Maker Gwen, and he actually kind of made things close. Does end up falling without any exchange in the end, but on the flip side, Impunity are able to get a couple talents, get a little bit of damage. But now the collapse coming in onto LZ. Can they find more? Pretender only finds a nice little rocket. And it will be Impunity. It will. I don't know about the trade, but it comes out kind of even. Not anymore.
I would like to see Pretender have maybe a bit better accuracy on the Corky rockets. You saw in the fight earlier just now, he didn't land a nice one to start off. It was versus 3 people, get the Luden's proc as well, but he just hasn't really been how do I put this in a nice way?
They haven't grouped all that much though. There hasn't been that many rockets thrown.
But like he could do better. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. He's doing good, but he could do better. Yeah, he had a good. The thing is, he had a great performance in spring. He also had like a good performance during the playoffs when people just counted for Esports out. So yeah, I would like to see him just push and be there for his squad, especially on a champ such as Corky, where you're so reliant on just kiting around the fights and then landing those crucial rockets, especially with the first buy of the Ludens. So hopefully we'll see that in the later fights.
Yeah, but something I do want to pull our viewers' attention to is the fact that Hollow, he's gone for the Gore Drinker. This is Gore Drinker Graves, which has shown up a little bit. Haven't seen it a ton, but now he does get hooked up. But hey, they're actually investing a whole lot to try and secure Hollow. But okay, they get some CC to interrupt the escape coming in from Eminem. So they actually get him picked off, and now they're going to turn their attention towards this Baron buff. What a great execution coming in from Impunity to make this possible, but can they actually secure the objective? FAK Esports pulling their way in. Now they're stuck in the pit. Can they get away from YSKM? He's going to be able to secure that first one for his squad, and now the chase is on. Impunity, can they get out with 3 members? It doesn't look like it's going to be possible. They will be able to secure 2, but LZ goes down at the end. It will be 3 in exchange for Baron. But being behind feels like Impunity made the most of the situation.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was as much as they could hope for this time around. They do get the Baron buff onto their solo laners, Gwen as well as Azir. I mean, they're streaming Baron around 21 and a half minutes, always a pretty early Baron. The thing is they do have the Azir on their squad, who's always going to be able to take Baron down very fast, because Lista as well helps with that. We'll take a look at the replay for the fight. There's Winnie. They know that he's there. Get scanned out. You're gonna land on Hollow. But
this is a pretty bold play from Hollow. He just sees the support in the bush with the scanner. And he's like, yeah, I'm walking up. I'm a Chad. But unfortunately, it kills his support. But now this is the fun part where they just they still go for the fight, and why not? Your Jax is so huge.
Yeah, I think FAK Esports, there is a split second right there where they pretty much just let Winnie zone them entirely out of the Baron pit. Winnie just stood in front of the Baron pit at the rest of the FAK squad like, yeah, so what y'all gonna do? And it turns out that FAK Esports didn't do anything. They let IMP take it before they went for the fight. So I think, both these teams, it didn't turn out too bad for either of them. The IMP are going to be able to use the Baron buff and the Baron powered minions to try and get as much damage down to the towers as they can. They're still behind in terms of towers, 4-2, and you can see the game plan is just try to group instead of splitting their solo laners to spread the Baron buff. So 5 people mid.
The engage comes through. Eminem will go down, and a big chunk coming down onto Hollow actually means they'll look to back off. Remember, IMP still have the Baron buff ticking on 2 members, so that will help just ever so slightly for this next fight. And FAK Esports, we'll see if they actually want to go in. YSKM on the flank, Zin behind them, but the dragon just goes down way too fast. It will be IMP securing that one, and now looking to try and find a reset here. But all things considered, like that's still most of the Baron buff gone though.
Yeah, I think that IMP have made a couple of good moves in the last couple of minutes to keep the goal difference to 4K, because it's been about 4K for the last couple of minutes so far. What I think Frank needs to do is that they're having a lot of trouble trying to make anything happen with their earlier gold lead, which, as you're talking about in the draft phase, Frank Esports have a bit more of a harder comp to try and execute, whereas IMP, if it goes to those 5v5 team fights, that's where they're really strong. So I'm starting to get a bit worried for Frank Esports right now.
I
They got one
mean,
dragon also.
yeah,
So.
worry noted, but at the same time, how much effort does it take to just find a big Corky rocket land onto backline members, right? If just one of those lands onto Apex, it feels like the fight's just done, right? Because that's most of their damage.
We mentioned in Picks and Bans as well, right, that we want to see Pretender go in with the Corky passive to start off those fights. We said that that was going to be one of the crucial things in how Frank versus IMP play this 5v5. We just haven't seen it yet, but they do have the potential to make that happen. Right now, it looks like it's going to be bot as well as mid pushing for Frank Esports. There's Apex just hitting towards the top side with Alex to just... Oh, looks like Alex actually going to get some deep wards over in top. So they're once again trading different sides of the map. The wraparound, no!
Does he see them, though? That's a real question. Damage comes down, does go golden, buy time, but that is a key cooldown burned along with that ultimate. And look at YSKM. He still has his ultimate. That's a lot of his team fighting power because it adds that extra durability. Of course, you like to use it in the 1v1 as well, but when you get that free ult advantage, that is massive for Frank Esports.
Yeah, and Hollow again with that very aggressive
Winnie.
face check. He's gonna get caught by the wraparound from Winnie though.
Just no damage.
IMP, yeah, they're actually letting him out of that one. They had LZ as well as Trundle over on the side, but they didn't decide to maybe like drop a pillar or try to pick him off. So Hollow, I mean, his positioning leaves a bit to be desired, but it's not going to be punished this time around. So Pretender sees the ward go down, so he does know someone to go with topside river, probably.
Yeah, and why not?
Yeah, this...
like the main damage threat is, of course, the Apex on this Azir. Now teleport coming through. Can they find anything off it? YSKM seems to be overforcing this just a little much. If he gets shoved back and picked off, that could be devastating for their chances of a team fight. But nothing to actually get picked off. Hollow dashes out after the pillar gets tossed down, and that's one of their soft engages down from the side of IMP. So really the only way to force is now with the Kalista ultimate, but after eating that rocket, LZ says, no thank you, I'm gonna queue up a recall. But because of the fact now Frank Esports pulled over towards the Baron, LZ has to cancel that recall and might just be playing around with recall timers here. We'll see how it happens. 1 minute until Dragon. What's the objective here? Are we going Baron or are we going Dragon?
Yeah, I think Frank Esports have decided they don't really have the wave. It's going to be like a good 20 seconds before their wave that has just spawned really gets into a good position for the mid-tier one. So they're going to go for the Baron play instead, just kind of zoning out IMP with the Corky Rockets. IMP though.
Okay, teleport coming in. Okay, that's just going to be the Summoner trade 1 though, coming in from Frank Esports. Okay, Hollow might be picked off once again. We'll get the shield coming in from that Senna ultimate, and now the chase is on. Can they find damage onto the backline from IMP? That's the real question, and the answer is no. They just can't walk up. There's just way too much range. Frank Esports, they come away with 2. That's ICU down. That's Winnie down. That's the engage, and also the backline threat eliminated. So IMP cannot do anything, and Frank Esports will walk away with 2 kills and the free Baron.
I actually think Frank Esports played that pretty well. IMP are going to get the trade. So
that's Dragon Soul.
Yeah, exactly. It's the third Cloud Drake right there. So they do actually get something significant out of that. We're going to take a look at the replay for this. FAK Esports actually, IMO, they make a very smart play, which is they don't want to fight in the Baron pit versus the Azir. So they make like they're
Yep.
starting Baron and then they back out because they don't want to fight. But what they do instead, they go for the wrap around. They catch out IMP in this little corridor, which is so good for Senna's to fight in because then she can get that straight line, she can get the ultimate down a lot easier. And then it's so much easier for FAK Esports to then play out the rest of that fight. So if they manage to take down Gwen, they take down Nautilus as well, which means that, you know, IMP withdrew, they still were able to then rotate over to Dragon. But I think the Baron fight was very well played by FAK Esports.
Yeah, and the other thing, of course, Hollow, he's just playing so far forward. He knows with Gore Drinker, if you hook him in, that just gets him closer to your team, so he gets a fatter heal off with that Gore Drinker active. And now YSKM on that bot side, pushing that Baron minion wave in. But going back into that last team fight, when you're stuck in a choke, it's actually really hard for Kalista to contribute because she wants to bounce around in open spaces to be able to then dodge skill shots. If she's forced into that choke, there's nowhere to jump.
Yeah, she can't bunny hop around as much as she would like. So when he's cute, he's gonna go wide, but IMP have all 5 members just to
look at that
siege
damage.
Oh man, that Corki though onto Winnie. Winnie's supposed to be a tank support, but he's already chunked it down to less than a quarter of his health. I think that's the signal that for IMP to just back off of it, so they know that their creep wave is gonna go down quickly too, so they can't defend their mid tier 2 for much longer. I think the triple Cloud Drake just hasn't been the most useful dragon for them in terms of what their composition really wants at this point. There's Hollow once again. This time though, he's got the true ward there, so he's in a good spot. He's just waiting for someone to face trick onto him.
YSKM, he doesn't care.
He's playing like an absolute Chad at this point. Level 17 Jax is gonna make it out though when he sees 2 members of IMP. There's Hollow. Ooh, gets down to almost
Rockets! Rockets! Oh, welcome to Unfun Land, where Corki lobs rockets from infinite range, and once you do walk up, the Senna autos you from infinite range. It's just...
Unfun Land? Is that what we're calling the durability patch? Because I'm on board, man. I don't want to see longer games. Come on, come on. This is PCS. I want to see them skirmishes early. Give me that.
I love Unfun Land where teams play low range carries into Corki and Senna. That's my enjoyment because I love both of those 2 champions because they are the epitome of unfun.
That's just pain. That's just not the ideal experience as both the viewer and the player. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
We're never queuing League together. That's what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is we are not like after today's PCS games jumping in the game together because like I feel like you would just grief me and then I would grief you. So yeah, I feel like yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, for the side of IMP, how is the way they're going? How are they going to get back into this game? It's going to be finding some sort of pick, but the issue is they're engaged. Like Alex, Winnie, these 2 players, they're the ones tasked with trying to find and engage somewhere. But look at their itemization; they have full armor. So that means if they take 2 rockets, 1 big rocket, 1 small rocket, that's like a third of their HP instantly gone. And it's so hard to walk up then to try and force a pick if whenever you show your face, you're seeing a rocket cleaving away at your health bar.
Yeah, you need some sort of like duo synergy. You need something like a Trundle Azir or maybe a Nautilus Azir or like a solo Gwen, which is impossible right now because it's 0-4 to make that type of pick happen. I think FAK have done a good job of countering that by just grouping at least 3.
Hey, let's get Hollow.
About grouping. It's always Hollow. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Hollow's just face taking, but he's just so tanky. Now they're gonna channel that Kalista ultimate when he goes in, and Winnie is down. I don't know about that engage, Jenny, but what I can say is that FAK Esports, it doesn't matter what they do, they're just no damage coming in from the Callista to threaten it, and they have so much magic damage or magic resistance already built up because they know there's Gwen there and there's an Azir. So if we stack magic resistance, the only threat is this Callista, but Callista can't walk up.
Yeah, this is just Pooh Bear abuse at this point, but I agree with you. The thing about the Callista, it's a bit like the problem where if you pick a Leona and you get behind, you can't go in, right? So Callista, her ultimate, if she can't throw someone in because they're behind, and whoever she throws in is like, I mean, when she starts a fight, they're gonna get bursted immediately, and it's just really hard for her to try and use that. It's pretty much only, like, she's gonna use her ultimate only as an escape tool when Winnie gets caught, which is not ideal.
They want to look for a pick again.
No, the hook mistake.
And it doesn't happen, but now look, I see you. He's going down in the 1v1. YSKM, can he finish it off? He will be able to and still get out. And now the side of IMP, they're trying to collapse towards that bottom side, but they're just way too far away. The recall is going to come through. YSKM still has that teleport, and now we're resetting for this Elder Dragon. That's going to be the ultimate to slow those backs. They're actually starting to get pinched, and Pretender coming in with teleport over his own. YSKM coming in on the flank. He jumps onto Apex. Apex is forced to use the ult to disengage, but that doesn't mean anything. Pretender zooms across the wall, uses that package, and dumps it onto the Azir. The Azir is gone. Oh, IMP is gone, and Alex can only watch his base explode.
Alex, is he gonna be able to make anything happen 1 versus 5 as the Trundle?
I tend to say no.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe bet to say no. ICU is up though. And yeah,
but
he's
his
gonna
Nexus
come up sitting base and launches his Nexus, goes boom, ICU, back to the ICU for him, I guess, for this game. Just, I'm not sure what IMP's plan was this time around. As you're saying, Alex had such a standout performance yesterday on the Viego. We were kind of hoping that maybe IMP would try to go for this same type of game plan again, which would put a lot of resources into ICU and allow ICU to carry the game. But you pick him a losing matchup. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like even as a coach, even if it was ICU who said, you know what, like, I got this, I know how to play this, I feel like that's when your coach steps in and they'll like just know, immediately know.
Sure about this? Yeah, I feel like the coach probably asked him a couple of times, and after the third time, it's just like, well, okay. At some point, we're running low on the pick ban timer. We have to just go ahead and lock this in, but we see the replay on this last fight.
Yeah, there's the replay, and Apex actually has a not bad ultimate.
Yeah.
Right
the ultimate's certainly not bad, but the issue is, like, they forgot about the Corki package.
Yeah, and it's like a disengage ultimate because they know that they cannot fight at that point in time. I think Frank just decided, you know, we're gonna go ham, and yeah, they just really wanted to end the game. I think they had YSKM just jump in with the Jax as well to start things off. At that point, level 18 Jax, just absolutely no counterplay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty clear-cut path to victory at that Dragon fight because the side of Impunity, they were a little bit too far behind, and again, there was just no way for this composition to do anything against the Corki and the Senna after a certain point. Either you have to beat them into the river or get to the objectives first to be able to you know, secure the fact that you're not stuck in a choke point, or you just have to be able to engage on the dot. And unfortunately, their engage was just a Nautilus. That was pretty much it. So, and Nautilus, he eats a Corki rocket. It was like, what, half of his health gone? So, not a whole lot of gameplay or counterplay from IMP's composition. And a lot of it stemmed from, hey, we have to be critical of ICU, knowing that I picked Jax into Gwen. Now I'm going to try the flip matchup, and YSKM dumpstered him. It was not close, Jenny.
Yeah, I agree. That was a bit painful to watch, especially because we've been gassing up ICU this entire game, and also I mean since the spring split as well, ICU has always been that type of player who like kind of elevates the level that the rest of his team plays at because you expect ICU to do well in lane and then open up options for the
Mhm.
rest of the team. I think this time around they just really weren't able to do that. We saw a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes where he was just straight up miscalculating the 1v1 in terms of whether or
Mhm.
not he had enough damage. I think dropping the ignite down as well onto the Jax and wasting that spell. I think Jax was easy like maybe 100, 150 or something at that point. So it just wouldn't have been enough. I'm not sure if it's just maybe like a bad day today, but hopefully they're going to be able to reset their mentality for tomorrow. I think, IMP, we didn't have that much time to talk about this before the game started, but a couple of the players, just don't have a competitive history coming into this because they're a bit of a weird mashup of a team, right? They've got a couple of players who've been playing since vintage
Forever.
LMS years ago, and then they've also got a couple of rookies who we've never seen before in competitive play,
Mhm.
like LZ. So I mean, week one, maybe, of course, you can't expect like growing pains from this team. I'm a bit hesitant to gas them up too much because I would love for IMP to make another playoffs run. Just because, Singaporean team, bias caster, but I would love for them to be able to pull it together. Unfortunately, today was just not their day, not their draft.
Yeah, and I mean, when we look at both of these teams, we can dive into the damage graphs first of all, and we know, hey, like this Azir, that was the big win condition after a certain point because your Kalista didn't get very far ahead. That should have
Mm-hmm.
been the big play. But on the flip side, like Pretender, he just did so much damage. But the clear MVP is YSKM. Why? He was getting solo kills, he was drawing pressure all over the map, and once he got that pressure, he was immediately utilizing that to put pressure in these team fights, immediately finding these great teleports. So YSKM, he was the new addition to this Frank Esports roster, and he has absolutely paid them in spades with his performance.
Yeah, and I also like what it looks like Frank Esports are doing, which is that, he's the only new player on the squad. So all the other four members have had the entire spring split to mesh well together. So what they decide to do is it's kind of like band-aiding whether or not he has any communication issues with the rest of the team or in terms of synergy.
Mhm.
Yesterday he played Fiora, right? Today he's playing Jax. So he's been playing champs where he could potentially just push or like he knows how to play this out regardless of whether they're playing as a five or not, which I think is very smart. I mean, I'm not saying that they have communication issues or whatever, they've been doing great, but they've kind of like, I don't know if it's a major 200 IQ 5 hit play, but it's definitely been working out for them. They're putting him on like Fiora and on Jax.
Yeah, put him on comfort, allow him to make his way, slowly ease him into the league, and so far he has done absolutely fantastic. But that's going to be it for game number 2. It will be Frank Esports taking the game, but after the break, we will have J-Team coming back, and Jenny will get to talk about how much she loves J-Team. So see you after the break.